All right, guys, welcome back to the Addictively Speaking podcast. I'm your host, James, and with me today is Neetha, the head and founder of the Recovery Coach Academy. And it's a pleasure to have you here. I'm so grateful
Thank
for you
you.
to take your time out of your day to do this. And yeah, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. My name is Neetha Uran. I am the founder and CEO at Recovery Coach Academy in the UK. I'm also a woman with my own recovery story and journey, and I am the glue to four generations that live under one roof, aged 9 to 81. I like to say it is controlled chaos full of love, but we are thriving in recovery. And we just want to make a difference and positively promote recovery. I think there's a lot of people out there talking about addiction, so let's spread some hope and support long-term recovery and see what that looks like. So that's what we kind of set out to do. So yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it's refreshing to see what you're doing and building these recovery communities because I think it's much needed. I mean, no matter where you go, having that
Yeah.
support system is absolutely key. Um, so you said you have your own recovery journey, so you've experienced addiction firsthand, and
Yeah.
has it affected your family, other family members as well?
I think it affects so many people, no matter what.
Yeah.
I think, when my daughter was found in recovery, we kind of sat there really quick one day and said, how many people has this impacted? Our family, our journeys. And within just like 7 seconds, we both had 10 fingers each, 20 people we'd come up with. And I think often families and friends aren't given the time, the support, and conversations that they need to help make a difference. And because I had my own personal journey in recovery, when we realized that my daughter needed support because she was having her own struggles, I think there's an assumption that as a parent, you know what to do if you already have your own recovery. And we
No, but
didn't.
no, recovery is different for everybody. So you have no, I
Yeah,
mean, your journey is unique to you, you know. So
yeah,
yeah, that you
yeah,
would most people would assume you would just be like, we'll just implement the same thing, but that doesn't necessarily
yeah.
work, does it?
No, no, I was like, I remember saying to somebody one day, I'm really sorry, but I missed the meeting where they gave the manual on how to raise a grandchild and how to create an intergenerational home while figuring all this out because you just don't know how to do it. So I just think the number of people that are impacted, and it's not just immediate family, it's extended family, it's employers, it's colleagues you've worked with, neighbors. I think back to kind of even my mom's neighbors while we were supporting my daughter, just the ripple effect of people impacted. And I guess the bit I'm really grateful for is those some of those people really came on this journey with us and became not only support to us, but they became allies for the whole recovery movement.
Oh, that's
They
amazing. Yeah, that's
supported it.
amazing.
And I think, and that's one of the things I kind of is really important to me is to just educate people that even if you're not directly impacted by substance use or alcohol, you can still be an ally and support people and, make a difference to people's lives. You don't just have to be right there in the grit of it, you know?
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. I think having allies and support systems and things like people that don't experience it or
Yeah.
don't know what that feels like, just to have them on your side to support you is huge because they've not gone through it, but they can at least they can sympathize and empathize with you and help you
Yeah.
stay sober.
Yeah, yeah, we do some like free community training to help people understand what it means to be an ally. And one of the things I always say is everybody knows somebody that's impacted. You just may not know who that somebody is. You
Right.
know,
That's so true because some people with the stigma that goes along with addiction, people like to keep that people don't go out from the rooftops and start shouting, "I'm an addict. I'm in
no,
recovery." I kind of keep it to themselves.
yeah, and I think there is that assumption that we were talking to a group of young people, and they're like, we don't even want to talk about being in recovery. We just want to talk about having a really good life where we're alcohol free or drug free. And what does that look like? So I think just meeting people where they're at and however they choose to describe themselves or their situation, recognize that and honor it and just walk with them. And that's one of the things I guess that really appeals to me about recovery coaching is whatever path it is, I don't mind. It doesn't have to conflict with my path, but let's just help you get where you want to go, you know?
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's a great way to think about it. So
Yeah.
when did you establish the Recovery Coach Academy?
So I think it's going on about 3 years now. I think it was probably in reality many years of building and a journey. I don't think it just sort of happened. I'd worked as a licensed chemical dependency counselor in a previous lifetime, it feels like. Then I worked in university student accommodation, so supporting students. You just see drugs, alcohol, life, living problems, all those things. Um, Oh, I don't know what happened there. I despaired. Oh, well, we're back. Yeah, and just all of that culminated to the point where I think when my daughter came to live with us, we just realized that things were the things we had access to in the US. So I had access to a recovery community and recovery coaches for 2 years prior to my daughter finding recovery.
Okay.
And then I still talk to some of those people today. So that's 7 years really that I've had that continuum of conversations going through this journey. Um, and I realized that actually I don't just need 30 days support. My daughter needed more than just a 12-week program. There wasn't the levels of sober living, sober communities that she could access in the UK like she could there. So
Right.
Recovery Coach Academy came about from the need to want to provide that and make that sort of feeling of recovery and recovery coaching in communities accessible and available to anybody who wanted to give it a go. And when we started to talk about that, what we realized was actually there's no recovery coaches that work the way the recovery coaches that we worked with work. So then organically, we've just started to create Recovery Coach Academy. And from that, we realized if we provide really good, credible training that has, I like to say we're standing on the shoulders of giants, even if no one can see them. You know, 85,000 people plus have done this training in America, you
Wow.
know.
Okay.
So, and we've trained just over 500 in the UK. But it's not just the training. People who do that training then need a community. They need to engage with the people who are learning this with them, who are implementing it. So that's kind of how it all came about. And I never would have dreamed it would be where it is today, because initially we just wanted a community with some recovery coaches so people could have the support we have.
Very ambitious. I mean, that's a huge thing to set out to do because I mean, I imagine you have to develop or I mean, develop a curriculum for
Yeah.
recovery coaches and things like that. So what type of stuff do you guys offer for like with
Mm-mm.
recovery coaching and what type of things are available to people if they're interested in becoming a recovery coach?
Well, so the training that we deliver at the heart, that is the foundation of pretty much everything we do, is the CCAR curriculum, the Connecticut Community for Addiction Recovery. We work so closely with them. They're not just an organization we work with. They are our friends now. They are our family. They mentor and advise us. My daughter recently went out to Connecticut and moved in with the CEO for a week and attended some advanced training. And they advocate for us as much as we do for them. And I think that's a gift in itself. But because they have got a gold standard level of curriculum that is accredited, it's represented by NADAC in America. CCAR offers their own, credentialing to become a recovery coach professional designate. So we've worked with them to take that curriculum and make it culturally competent for the UK, to
Oh,
provide
wow.
the resources. We've worked with, people in the criminal justice system and different things to look at the language, the scenarios, to make it fit for purpose. But it's, many people have said to me, oh, this is American. And my response is, I don't know about you, but addiction is a global problem. So
Yeah, I was
why
gonna
can't
say,
recovery coaching be part of a global solution? It doesn't discriminate, and you
yeah,
adapt and tweak it and make it work.
yeah, it should be
Yeah,
universal, right? I mean, recovery should be universal for
it is.
anybody and everybody. It doesn't have to be American, or it doesn't have to be labeled as where it's from or what it's about. The
Yeah,
results are what matters. Is that you have more people finding recovery,
yeah,
recovering, and then helping other people find recovery. I mean, I mean, that the reason I started my podcast was because I've been on this journey for 11 years in recovery, and
yeah,
I had big communities in America that I took part in, community service programs. I spoke at high schools to help people. I wanted to get my voice heard, and I wanted to spread a message of hope to people.
yeah,
And that's why I'm doing this of conversations to be had, like between
yeah,
me and you. Hopefully we can spread this out and more people will get involved in your program and become allies and
yeah.
just provide hope to more people out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, one of the key things that stood out for me was I just kind of realized that when I was approached for support as a family in the US, I was given every available option. So somebody said to me, here's the free stuff, here's the paid stuff, here's the stuff that your insurance will cover 50% of, here's the stuff that your insurance will cover nothing or
Yeah.
20%. But I was given every option. And I just feel like often when I came here, when my daughter was looking for support, she was given A and B. There were two options. This is what we do. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, she needs some art. She needs some journaling. She needs a recovery coach. She wants to figure out how to ride the tube in London. She needs help with all that stuff. And
Yeah.
that is all what recovery is. And I think there is a place for everything, but people should have the choice. It's not either or. It's have a bit of everything, and make it accessible. And that was the big difference to me that really stood out initially was, you know that
Yeah.
community thing.
Yeah, I heard some horror stories. I mean, about
Yeah,
the way the UK does recovery, and they're just like people with really serious alcohol problems. They're just like, well, maybe you should try to drink less and things like that. Like they don't really give you the support you need. They,
yeah. I, I think
there should be more in depth involved in it, in like the caring aspect of it, of trying to help people, because some people
yeah,
just they just need help, and just
yeah,
saying maybe taper off isn't
yeah.
what they needed to hear.
Yeah, I think there's some people in the UK doing absolutely amazing work, but I don't feel that they are seen or heard as much as they should be. So people don't know about them. You only kind of hear about this group of people, and it's the same group all the time.
Mm,
It's the same treatment settings or the same service providers. And I think for me, it's really important. Like we support people who are new and innovative and grassroots and want to do things differently. Um, and I think, drug services and all of those places, they serve their purpose, but most of them initiate recovery. They
mhm.
don't help sustain recovery.
Yeah, I don't think there's any like sober living stuff over here. At least I haven't
There's a
seen any or
couple.
heard about it. I mean, but it's not. Yeah, but I mean, in America, it's quite prevalent. But I mean, you
Yeah.
know,
And I think there's a couple here and people are looking at doing it, but probably your experience and mine is probably very different in the sense that what I consider a sober living, is they make people feel like a guest. It is welcome. Come on in. Here's the hospitality. You know, I know a guy who's got some amazing sober living homes in Texas, and people walk in and feel like this is a beautiful place. I want to stay and recover, you
yeah,
know, and there's that investment into all of that stuff that goes around it so that people want to stay when they have problems and work through them. And I just think having a flat with a group of people who are all not using is very different from providing a stable, sustainable, motivational, sober environment to live in and get better in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I imagine with like a sober living environment, it would be more beneficial to have, groups and just provide a sense of care and welcoming, like you're saying, like so that when things do get difficult,
Mm.
that people have something
Yeah.
to help them refocus and work through the issues. And
Yeah.
because early days of recovery is tough because you're trying to
Mhm.
figure it all out, aren't you? And it's really
Yeah.
easy to fall back into those old habits, or talk to the old people that you used to associate with. There's just this big lifestyle change that you have to kind of do. And it's nice to have people that are on your side to help you
Mhm.
navigate those waters, because it's tough to do it on your own.
Yeah, and I think also, I have the debate a lot about, are people in recovery vulnerable? And somebody told me, "Oh, you need to tick the box that says vulnerable," and I'm like, "No," But I think too often we don't create a space where people can dream and maximize their potential once they have it. It's too easy
Mm,
to just say, "Oh, we can help you get on a housing list or a benefit list, or you can do a bit of volunteer work." And so
right.
for me, if somebody comes to me and says, "I have a dream of setting up my own art business," then I'm kind of like, "Whoa, cool. How do we make that happen?" Not,
Oh shoot.
I don't know what
Wow,
happened.
I don't know what happened either. So we are having some technical difficulties. You know what? Let's
Go
just
with it.
roll with it. We'll
Yeah,
continue. But you know
it is
what?
life. Oh,
That's right. Listen, this is
yeah,
like the recovery journey. Like things are happening. We just got to deal with it. We'll
yeah.
just make it work, right?
Any barriers and obstacles, we just work around them. We got it going on. Yeah, yeah. But as I was saying, I think often we're too quick to label and stigmatize people as they can only do this. And I've known people early in recovery that they had that period and it wasn't extended. It didn't go on for years. They got some help and now they want to do amazing things. So, where do we create that environment that allows people to just really do more, be more if they want to, you know?
Right. Do you think it's important that we break the stigma of people that suffer from
Yeah.
addiction and recovery? I think it's very important because when people look at people in addiction and recovery, they already have their thoughts in their head, don't they? They have their
Yeah.
preconceived notions of what somebody in recovery is, or
Mm.
what addiction is and how that affected them, but they don't know
Yeah.
your journey and they don't know your
Mm.
struggles and they don't know what you've been through. So they've
Yeah.
already developed something in their head that they think about you before they even meet you. So you're
Yeah.
kind of at a disadvantage straight away, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. And I think, we have this debate with our friends in America a lot about even trying to avoid the word stigma now, because stigma builds more stigma. If I keep saying, there's campaigns out, combat the stigma, whatever, that's
Yeah,
just them going, well, let's talk about the stigma.
you're
And so,
acknowledging it.
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, that's why Khalees and I made a conscious decision. If you want war stories and all of that stuff, go somewhere else because there's plenty of it out there. But if you want to talk about what life can be like and positively promote recovery, the benefits of recovery, how we can succeed in recovery, how we can help other people have a better life in recovery, then that's us because there's not enough people who are talking about that. I went in a local like service the other day, and I think the chairs were screwed to the floor. There was a warning sign that was really big and yellow. There's a thing about, all the signs were about Hep C, you know,
Oh,
a
lovely.
homeless
Yeah.
man with a dog, and I'm like, where are the pictures and posters of people thriving in recovery? Where's
Yeah,
the
the
hope?
people that did it.
Where's the trust that I'm not going to steal the chair? Break down the barriers, because I went in there and I just went, actually, was this somewhere I'd want to stay or seek help? Because it doesn't
Yeah.
make, and the
It,
stigma just around that.
yeah, just that to me sounds like the most hopeless place you could go. Like it sounds void of any hope whatsoever. Well, I think you're
Yeah.
completely right. Like there should be, like put up um a board up of people with success stories of people that have
Yeah.
overcome the things they've achieved, where they've gone, where they were, and where they've gone to.
Yeah.
That's what people need to see. I mean, they need to see, the
Yeah.
people that are trying to win. We're trying to
Yeah.
win at life.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like I got this second chance, this gift to be able to live the life I never thought I'd be able to have. And I
Absolutely.
want people to know how that feels, because if other people struggling with addiction know that it's possible, then
Yeah.
they're more likely to go out and seek the help they need.
Yes.
You know,
And I
if you
think,
don't,
and I, it's that's it. It's, I mean, and to me, what you said there is seek the help they need.
yeah,
Most people, if you ask them, what do you need to help your recovery? They may not know exactly what it's called, but they'll have an idea of what they need to better their life.
yeah, absolutely.
And if we
And
just
I
help
think,
people with that, cool, we're on the right track.
yeah, right. I mean, people think that their options are like a 12-step program, sober
Hmm.
living. They don't think that there's a rehab. They don't think there's other options. I mean, when you think that there's only, so you have like, they say you have 3 or 4 options,
Yeah.
you know, and none of them work for you, then why would you even try it? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if you don't have an option, a plethora of options or things that work for you,
Mm.
it makes it really
Yeah.
difficult.
And I think it's also really important, just because it doesn't work once doesn't mean, just
Yeah.
because it doesn't work the first time does not mean it's not going to work the next time. I mean, I remember speaking to a guy, and I think he was training some people that were police officers or fire department or something in the States. And, one of the attendees said, I'm just sick of Narcaning people and, people that were overdosing repeatedly. And the guy said, if you hadn't have Narcaned me for like the 13th time, I wouldn't be here training you, you know? And I
Yeah.
think that's like, you know, who are we to give up on somebody because they are having a hard time? And if it takes one time or 5 times or trying 8 different types of things, then they're human. They've got a problem. Let's help them. Let's figure that out. So, yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I have heard that a lot too with people complaining about Narcan and things like that.
Mm.
I just don't think people, they don't see the human aspect of what people in addiction are going through, and that like if that was your sister or your
Yeah.
mother and they were lying there dying,
Mm.
I bet your ass you'd want somebody to Narcan them, yeah?
Yeah.
But when they become so disattached from it, that they
Mm.
think like, they just think in their mind,
Mm.
it's a junkie. It's a junkie, and we just need to, it doesn't matter. And
Mm.
that's bullshit. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a horrible way to think, because we've now disassociated the human side of these people. These people are dealing with something so extremely difficult
Yeah.
that they're killing them. They're literally killing themselves.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
if you don't reach out and try to save them,
Yeah.
that's a horrible thing to just say stuff like that. And I've heard it so many times where people are like, "Oh, that Narcan, it's ridiculous. Like people are getting jabbed with Narcan like 50 times." And
Saving
yeah,
lives.
but you're keeping people alive that they might live another day. They might figure out how to battle their demons. And if you
Yeah.
don't give them that opportunity, then
That's
what?
it.
We're just digging mass graves for people, aren't we?
Yeah. I think,
Which is a shame.
as long as there is breath, there is hope to do something different the next time. So just, Narcan, harm reduction, all of that stuff, that is sometimes a pathway to recovery for people, and we just have to allow that to happen and support it. But
Right,
yeah,
because people have to experience their own struggles and their own rock bottoms and their own,
yeah,
hardships. And some people, like you said, they don't learn the first time. They might not learn
no,
the second time or the third, but
yep,
eventually we can
Mm,
hope that they find it, that they find what
yeah,
they're looking for.
yeah, yeah. I just think all of that, any type of support for individuals or for their families, we just need to make it accessible and available. And yeah.
So, how long did it take you to become an accredited academy in the UK? Like, how long did it take for that process to start
Oh,
and finish?
it's still ongoing. It just is a constant journey, I think. So we worked with CCAR, then we realized that to build that social, it's not even the professional credibility around it, because it is so new, then we just had to figure out what that might look like. So we're CPD accredited in the UK.
Mhm.
Some of our courses are part of certification, will meet certification requirements for the New York Certification Board, which is part of the International Reciprocal Agreement for coaching. So there's just a lot of different things that I still learn about,
Okay.
and look at ways to do. Um, the reality is recovery coaching right now is not sort of regulated in the UK in the way it is in America. I think it
Okay.
will I think it will happen eventually. I mean, there's no reason why you can put a sign up saying you're a recovery coach. Is that ethical? Are you competent, confident, well trained? That's a different thing. So for
Okay.
me, working with CCAR provided a code of ethics that I could work
Right.
from, a professional board that I could report back to and seek advice. And that created a global support network for any of the people that trained with us to start to, open their minds to possibilities and awareness and what could be happening. Um, we're looking at any way we can to support people to make this a valid career for them, whether that career is as a volunteer, whether they're in paid employment for an organization, whether they do their own thing, because it's all needed. Some people don't want to go to a building that has a sign that says we provide drug and alcohol services here. They want to work with somebody independently. There's nothing wrong
Mhm.
with that. There's no, just let's make it all available. It's all okay. We have an amazing student that has done a project with an emergency room in the UK where people were just given the choice upon discharge to talk to a recovery coach or the drug services. Really simple. They make a choice. That's all. So I think, we can get really tied up in regulations, accredited board supervision, you know, everything starts somewhere. The International Coaching Federation, when it started, it was 12 people on a conference call because they didn't even have Zoom. And those 12 people decided what that would look like for the future. So in my world, this is just the beginning of something new and different. And it's okay. Don't be afraid of it. And we have to believe that there are life coaches, yoga coaches, recovery coaches, business coaches. There's enough people that can serve people with what they need when they need it, even if it's different from what other people do, you know?
Yeah. Um, so you said you've trained what, over 500 people in the UK.
Yeah.
Are all of them in recovery, or are
Nope.
they just all walks of life, like anybody?
Yeah. So our training is fully inclusive to anyone. So we have had people in short term recovery, long term recovery. We have had family members. We have had people who run organizations. We have had allies of recovery. I think we've had people from 11 different countries even train with us. You
Wow.
know, um, we have had couples where one had found recovery in a 12-step fellowship and their partner had got recovery through the family fellowship that sat alongside of that. Um, we have had moms and their sons in the training. One of them had been impacted directly, one indirectly. We have had educators, we've had, college professors sit in on the training, but they're not everybody who does this training wants to be a recovery coach professional and do that, but some people use it for their own personal recovery. It becomes a tool that they use in their own recovery or to support other people they might be recovering in whatever recovery pathway they're choosing. So it's such a mixed bag, and it's such great conversations, and just all those different walks of life come together, and we have some really debating and discussing conversations, because it can challenge our way of thinking. If you have your pathway to recovery and somebody sitting next to you says, "Oh no, that's not going to work," we create, I like to say, we create a brave and a safe space to talk about these things without judgment, you know. But the more, however you find recovery, doesn't affect my recovery pathway, and when we realize that, then we can actually help people a bit more and look at different options that are available to them. So it is a whole mixed bag. We have people getting up at 4 a.m. in the US to attend our training, versus people just down the road. I think we've got a recovery coach professional in England, Ireland, and Wales now, and we're just about to get our first one in Scotland. So then we'll have really be spreading out across every part of the UK.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So it's all good.
That is amazing. Wow. So you're
Yeah.
really building a community. Do you feel like recovery-based communities are very important to what you're doing as well? Like
Yeah,
you,
absolutely. I mean, one of our very first students said to us about 7 months after he did the training, and he said, "This is not a course, this is a community." And that just really made my heart feel full. So everybody that attends our like 5-day training, we just say you can stay in our community for as long as we offer it for free. Because what we realized is in America, people attend this training and they're probably going back to an organization or a space in their community where they know about recovery coaching, they know about building recovery community, they
yeah.
know about multiple and many pathways of recovery. So
Oh no. And we're down again. Little technical difficulties we're going through right here, but I'm sure Nathia will be back with us shortly. Oh, here she comes now. And she's back.
we are
Hey.
really getting the technology blips tonight. So
Well,
yeah,
I've never had this happen.
that's okay. It's all right. You're prepared for next time. Yeah. So we realized that in the US, people were going back to communities where they were talking recovery coaching and multiple pathways. So we really quickly realized we didn't want people to just attend the training, the book goes on the shelf, and nothing ever happens. That is not why I set this up.
Right.
We didn't want to set up a training company. We wanted a recovery community building organization. Training is just the vehicle to give people some skills, some knowledge, connection, and beef them up to go and do what they're meant to do in life. So through that, we have created a community, and I'd say over about 500 people have done the training. I'd say of that, probably at least 200 are still engaged with us on a monthly or weekly basis.
That's pretty good.
We have
Yeah.
a we have a student we have a student Facebook group that we just maintain, and we are always doing like free activities monthly, coffee and connection, providing some resources. We have WhatsApp groups that are just popping. It's amazing. People will be in there going, "I'm working with someone and they need this resource," and instantly somebody sends them that resource. Or do you know how to set up a policy on this? Or has anybody done that? And literally, just my phone, I have to turn the alerts off because, I mean,
Just
yeah.
keeps
And I
going
think
off.
but it's good because that community is now, when people have doubts or they're unsure, they're just putting a note there saying, "Has anybody ever done this before?" And then next thing you know, they're all meeting up and having a chat. They're practicing their coaching together. They're continuing their education. They're getting connected with the wider community. And all of that is where the magic happens. And so to me, that's the bit that's just fabulous now.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I want to talk about what are some of the achievements. I know you're nominated for an upcoming award. So what do
Yeah.
you want to talk about that? Because I mean that's pretty huge, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it's weird talking about us and ourselves, but it's life, you know. So Khalees and I were the first like recovery coach professionals and recovery coach professional facilitators in the UK. We still are. We're the only authorized CCAR, partner in the UK that do the training. Last year, we won our local Business for Purpose award, and we were recognised in Lincolnshire as the Business for Purpose through the Lincolnshire Awards. And we've just been nominated as CPD Provider of the Year. And I think kind of some of the things that we are doing that we don't even realize, people are watching and people are kind of going, what's going on over there? And so when people are reaching out, so we went and trained, I went out to Qatar and trained the first 40 Arabic speaking recovery coaches through the curriculum,
Wow.
and it's like just doing things like that. So often when we don't get traction in the UK with something, it just works out, and it's having that faith in what you do. Um, we've done some amazing work with the city of Newcastle, and they've just been really pleased with some of that. Yeah, it's just all interesting. And, when people say, did you plan for this? It's like, no, this our little business plan was to train some recovery coaches and have a recovery coach community, not to be nominated as CPD Provider of the Year, not to be doing international stuff. But doing that international stuff allows us to then do work in the UK. We're figuring out how to be a stable, sustainable, self-sufficient organization that supports recovery. And that's kind of cool, that feels really cool. We've won a few small grants, to help us build out our infrastructure and, systems and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think last year we, scholarshiped and supported almost £30,000 in either training or free recovery coaching to the end user, and that's just us as a little, me, my daughter, a few people that work with us, we were able to do that to impact our community in the UK. And I mean, I think probably we gave away about 70 something hours each of recovery coaching, and that's where the magic happens, is when you share it. We advocate for others, they advocate for us, and it's all really heart centered and heart led. And so, yeah, so it's exciting. I'm not sure what will happen over the coming year, but we'll just keep rocking along with it.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's all of that stuff is just wonderful stuff to hear.
Yeah.
So what do you have planned for the rest of 2023? What do you have going on? Do you have anything big coming up, or is there anything that you'd like to talk about that you're really excited about that's coming in the near future?
Oh gosh. So, well, if you don't know, you need to come to the recovery walk with us in September. The city of Hull has won the bid, and so we're working with Favor UK because my daughter is a board member and trustee for Faces and Voices of Recovery. So everybody come along and they can meet us and walk with us and celebrate recovery and put a face and a voice on recovery. I'm going off to do some more international training in the next week or so. So that's good. We're working with the University of Lincoln on a research project. So we've now got an amazing team of people through their productivity hub and the psychology and addiction teams who are working with people we support, train, and coach to, create, to really get the research, because, that's it. We can be providing good work, but some people just really want to see the research. One of our students has already been published in the British Medical Journal last year, September, with amazing results from his recovery coaching project. So I don't know. I usually make a plan for what this next 6 months look like, and it never goes according to plan. And that is all good and so cool. But I just think wherever this journey takes us, we're just going to go with it and see. And as long as we can spread some hope, spread some recovery, positively impact other people, that's all that matters.
That's yeah. That is
Yeah.
that's the thing, right? Is just hope
Yeah.
inspire people, get people involved. Do you feel
Yeah.
like social media plays a big role in that kind of stuff as well? Or do you feel like your social
Yeah.
media is reaching the people it needs to, or do you feel like do you find it hard to gain traction in social media to be able to speak to the people you need to speak to?
I think it has its pros and its cons. I think I'm really grateful. My daughter is 28, and very much, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff she gets.
Yeah.
Um, I think there's a need for it. I hate to think about being dependent on that. But what I do know is when we truly meet people where they're at as a recovery coach, that might be in the direct messages on Instagram. It
Yeah.
might be on Facebook. We have had people that reached out to us for help and support, and they weren't prepared to have a conversation yet. But they were prepared to have a DM conversation on Instagram. And I
Yeah.
think that to me is the really bit of important stuff around social media and things is that's a gray space for providing services. It's like, oh, what do we do here? And I just think if you are ethical and do your job well, it's a great opportunity to meet people where they're at and then start those conversations. So yeah, just please don't ask me to be the one to come up with the social media content plan and be on TikTok. My daughter chases me around the house with the phone, and
Does
it's like,
she?
no, please don't make me do this.
You
Yeah.
have to, listen, you have to be on TikTok. You have to do it. It's the way of the
Yeah.
world now. It's how to
She's
speak to the
trying to
youth.
train me to do these little dances, and I'm just like,
Oh,
oh, here we
yeah.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it
Yeah.
is, I'm sorry, it's all
That's all
very
right.
interesting in that world. But I think it is about making yourself available and accessible authentically, and then
Yeah.
just having really good boundaries for my own self care and my daughter's self care, because
Mhm.
you can't be available 24 hours, you
No,
know.
no, no.
But I think the nice bit about all that is now with all the people we've worked with, we have such an amazing resource list. So we have 200 people that literally we are now, when people call us and say, I don't think I want to do your training, but I think I need to talk to a recovery coach. We go, cool, let me hold some space while we find the right person for you and see if we can connect you with some options. And that's the beauty of it, I think, and through that, it's a very organic ripple effect of growth that I'm happy with. If it just grows slowly and it's real and authentic, there's no need to rush it. So I'm not going off figuring out any social media advertising or anything in the process. That just all freaks me out a bit.
It is difficult to get visibility on social media. I've done it. I've been trying to do it with the podcast to build up momentum and viewership and listeners and things like that. And it's a tough road to climb.
Yeah.
But I've had tons of wonderful, wonderful messages from people that would just DM me and that said, "Listen, what you're doing is great. Keep
Yeah.
doing it. We're
Yeah.
super proud of you." And those are the messages that mean the most. Because to me, it doesn't have to be a million views. It doesn't have to be, I don't have to be famous, but just to have
Mm.
those little things where people acknowledge like what you're doing is
Yeah.
worthwhile. It's
Yeah.
giving hope. I'm providing something to somebody. There's somebody who hears it, right? And there's
Yeah.
somebody that could possibly affect in a positive way. So I
Yeah.
mean, that's what makes the whole experience for me worthwhile. That's what makes what I'm doing
Yeah.
worthwhile because I'm hopefully out of 100 people, I'll touch that one, and they'll try to find
That's
that
it.
help that they need. Like you
That's
said,
it.
meet them where they're at.
Yeah. And I think it is. I mean, just leave the door open for a recovery conversation. I can remember somebody called me a year ago and they were like, oh my God, this is just wrong. You should be an accredited counselor, da 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 da. And then a year later, he was like, oh, you actually, it's cool. And I said, the door is always open for anybody who wants to have a recovery conversation. And if that comes through social media, great, you know. But I think just creating spaces to connect with people is so important. I mean, it's well known the saying, the opposite of addiction is connection. When we create community, even if it is just this community of James and I here today, and it grows by
Yeah.
one more and it grows by one more, there's not a race to this. It's about doing it authentically and just come have a chat. And if I can help you, I will. If I know somebody that can help you or be a resource to you, I'll point you in that direction. If I'm not the right person, that's cool too, you know? So I think there's just, yeah, so much that can be done for people and being available.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So I
keep it
also I
going.
want to, yeah, I wanted to ask you about celebrating recovery.
Yes.
People in recovery, how do you think they should celebrate? Like, what are the things like, do you have like a soberversary? Do you celebrate a soberversary? Because I know some people in recovery celebrate a soberversary, like a second birthday, a,
Yeah,
like a new beginning, right? It's like being born again,
yeah,
or
yeah.
some would
I
say.
think I have learned to celebrate a lot of things more than just a
Yeah.
date now. Um, I think it's, and I think as through, 25 years of recovery, you know, that may be a significant date, but to me, there are things like the day my daughter and grandson actually moved in with us, that date in my head, every year when that date comes up, that was the date of a new beginning. That's a reason to celebrate, you
Right.
know. And like my daughter initially, the first couple of years, there was the cake and the sober birthday thing. But I think actually now we almost celebrate recovery every day in some small way. We acknowledge, like just my daughter's first trip. She's traveling internationally with friends for the first time in recovery. This is just a massive celebration to me. I
Yeah.
was like, you need to lose your suitcase. You need to have all those trials and tribulations, the good stuff, eat all the pizza, have all the food, go on the coach trip to Tuscany with all the strangers speaking foreign languages. To me, that's a celebration now. So I think however anybody chooses to celebrate their recovery, I want to join that party. So if you want to go roller skating, I had a friend who recently celebrated her recovery by jumping out of a plane and doing a tandem skydive. I'm not sure. I'll cheer from the sidelines on that one, but I will still cheer. But I think lots of people celebrate in so many different ways, and I also think sometimes it's a shame to just celebrate one day. Let's celebrate every day. You know, and I think yeah. So that's what I'm trying to learn to do. That celebrate every win because today we can have wins as a family where, I think back. So 5 years ago this week, my daughter was in rehab, you know, my daughter was in rehab in Texas and I didn't know what the hell was going to happen to my life. And to
Yeah.
go from where we were then to here 5 years with a
Yeah.
really cool multi-generational family all living together driving each other crazy and a fabulous recovery focused business. Nobody could have told me that. So every day I celebrate that now, to do the work I love and wake up in the morning and have cool conversations with people like you and random strangers, all around the world
Yeah.
who just reach out. That is celebration every day. And I haven't felt that way about any other job in my life. So yeah, it's
That's a great
cool.
that's a great way to be living, really, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
personally, I celebrate like a soberversary. I have,
Yeah.
since I got sober. I mean, it's just something I do, but like hearing what you're saying is like, yeah, I celebrate a lot more now than I think I ever have in my life about achievements and things that I've done
Yeah.
and accomplishments that I've made. Because, before I was just numbing myself and trying to disappear. And now I'm alive and I want to be visible and I want people to see the great things that you can achieve when you put your mind to
Yeah.
things and when you know, work really hard and dedicate yourself. You can really do anything you put your mind to. So I think
Yeah.
celebration is huge for people in recovery because so many years people suffer in silence, don't they? And they don't say anything and they just try to disappear. And when you
Yeah.
get clean, it's time to show
Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah.
that
And I think it's even celebrating overcoming the bad days. Like I can remember when my daughter came to live with us, that was probably tougher than the time when she went to rehab, figuring out how to live as a family together, in England, newly sober. That was a really tough, painful time. But just being able to with those lows come immense highs. So
Yeah.
I can reflect back on that and go, God, celebrate we made it through those difficult days. But also, without going through that, I would not celebrate every day the days I'm having now. So it is cool. Life is good, and people in recovery can do. And my friend Gaz Rutherford owns an amazing organization called Art Fitness, and he just says he has a great campaign about being more than that, and that people in recovery are more than that. And I think
Yeah.
today that is something that I live and breathe every day. Is we're all more than just our recovery story, but how cool we've got that experience that we can build on to share with other people if they want to learn from us.
Yeah. I think that's true. We are more than our recovery story. We're so much more than that. You
Yeah.
know, we're people that have overcome something that has taken a lot of people away from this earth. We've built futures that we didn't think we'd have. We've done things that we didn't think we'd do. You
Yeah.
know, we've been places we never thought we'd go. So yeah, we are more than our recovery. That is absolutely true. That's a great way to think about it as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would like to add on the end of this? I think this has been such a remarkable conversation. I can't wait
Oh,
to share it with everybody. Yeah, is there anything you'd like to close on? Is there anything like words of wisdom or anything?
I
Um,
I just say keep having recovery conversations. Reach out to people. I may not be your cup of tea, but you'll find your cup of coffee somewhere else. But if I am, then I'm happy to have a conversation with people. But I just think if every positive conversation we can have to support people and families and individuals or organizations that want to support recovery, then and don't be afraid to dream. Don't be afraid to dream, because if we hadn't dreamed a little, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation with you. So yeah.
that
Yeah.
that is
Thank you so
true.
much. And I mean, if anybody wants to reach out to me for anything, just reach out, message. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram or wherever your lane is, and that's all
Yeah.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
And
have a
James, I'm
I
going to send my daughter to have a chat with you too about young people in recovery. Yeah.
Absolutely. Honestly, I would love that. That would be
Yep.
amazing. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking to build this podcast and help people wherever I can, however I can. I
Cool.
appreciate the help. I appreciate you taking your time to
Oh,
come and
you're
speak
welcome.
with us. And
Cool.
it's www.com, recoverycoachacademy.co.uk. Go check
Yeah.
them out. If you want to
Cool.
become a recovery coach, these are the people you need to see. This has been Addictively Speaking, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.